The war had dragged on for more than a decade. Humanity's fleets had clashed with the Serac dominion across half the Orion Arm, leaving planets scarred, cities shattered, and billions displaced. Corporal Adrian Hale had stopped counting the battles he'd survived. He didn't even bother to memorize the names of new planets anymore. They all looked the same in the end. Broken skies, ruined colonies, and endless fields of ash. But Erythos Prime was different. The planet had been declared a red zone, a battlefield too dangerous to hold and too valuable to abandon. Rumors spread across the barracks that the Serac Queen herself had withdrawn here, deep beneath the crust, hiding in labyrinthine tunnels with her brood. If she fell, the war might finally tilt in humanity's favor. Adrian didn't care about grand strategy. He just wanted to live long enough to finish his service and maybe find a corner of the galaxy untouched by war. But when his squad was deployed to Erythos Prime on what was supposed to be a routine sweep, everything changed. The ambush. The tunnels beneath Erythos Prime were a nightmare of stone and bioluminescent fungus. Adrian's squad moved slowly, rifles raised, every sound amplified by the claustrophobic dark. They never saw the ambush coming. One moment, Sergeant Kells was giving hand signals. The next, a swarm of Serac warriors, sleek, insectoid creatures with armored carapaces, exploded from hidden alcoves. Plasma bolts ripped through the squad. Men and women Adrian had served with for years fell in seconds. Adrian fired until his rifle overheated, the stench of burning alien flesh mixing with the acrid tang of ozone. Then he was running, blindly, deeper into the tunnels, guided by nothing but instinct and the desperate need to survive. He didn't stop until silence fell, broken only by the distant dripping of mineral water. When he finally dared to catch his breath, he realized he was lost, cut off from his unit. No way back to the surface. No hope of extraction. Or so he thought. The discovery. Adrian stumbled through twisting corridors, his flashlight slicing through the dark. He expected another ambush at every corner. Instead, he found something he never could have imagined. The chamber opened wide, a hollowed-out cavern shimmering with phosphorescent moss. At its center was a crystalline cradle, and inside it, a child. Not human. The little girl had the unmistakable features of the Serac, pale lavender skin, delicate ridges along her skull, and luminous eyes that glowed faintly in the gloom. But unlike the warriors Adrian had fought for years, she was fragile, small, barely more than 6 human years in appearance. She clutched a carved stone doll in trembling hands, tears glistening on her cheeks. She looked up when she saw him, and for the briefest moment, Adrian expected her to scream. Instead, she whispered something in her own tongue, a soft, broken sound filled with fear. Adrian's instincts screamed at him to leave her. She was the enemy, Serac spawn, maybe even bait. But something in her expression stopped him cold. This wasn't a soldier. This wasn't a monster. This was just a terrified child. "Easy," Adrian murmured, lowering his rifle. "I'm not gonna hurt you." Of course, she couldn't understand his words. But she understood his tone. She blinked up at him, hesitant, then stretched out a trembling hand. Against every order, every regulation drilled into him, Adrian reached back. The war faded away. The pursuit. It didn't take long for Adrian to realize why the girl had been alone. Serac patrols swarmed the tunnels, searching frantically. Their clicks and shrieks echoed through the caverns, closer with each passing minute. Adrian didn't know why he was doing it, but he couldn't leave her behind. He wrapped her in a scrap of thermal fabric from his pack, carried her against his chest, and moved as silently as he could. Once, a pair of Serac soldiers passed within arm's reach. Adrian froze, pressing himself and the girl against the stone wall. The child buried her face in his armor, holding back a sob. The soldiers moved on, oblivious. Hours blurred together. Adrian rationed what little water he had, giving more to her than himself. At one point she tried to hand him back the canteen, as if she understood the sacrifice. He managed a weak smile and pushed it toward her lips. He told himself he was just buying time, looking for a way back to human lines. But deep down he knew the truth. He couldn't abandon her, not after everything he'd seen. And then the ceiling shook. A roar thundered through the cavern, so deep it rattled Adrian's bones. From the shadows ahead emerged something massive, a Serac matriarch armored in iridescent plates, her eyes burning with intelligence. The Queen. The confrontation. Adrian's heart stopped. He had no chance. No weapon powerful enough to pierce her armor. No squad to back him up. The little girl stirred in his arms, her eyes lighting up when she saw the towering figure. She wriggled free, running toward the Queen with a cry that echoed through the cavern. The Queen's attention snapped to Adrian. Her mandibles clicked, her spine tail arched high, ready to strike. Adrian dropped his rifle. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his empty hands. "I didn't hurt her," he said, voice hoarse. "I kept her safe." The Queen tilted her head. Her gaze flicked from Adrian to the child, who was now clutching her leg, babbling in their alien tongue. For long, unbearable seconds, Adrian thought she would kill him anyway. Instead, the Queen lowered her tail and spoke. Her voice wasn't sound so much as resonance, deep vibrations that seemed to bypass Adrian's ears and sink directly into his mind. "You saved my daughter." Adrian staggered. He hadn't even realized who the girl was. "Why?" the Queen asked. Adrian swallowed. "Because she's a child. Because she didn't deserve to die in this war." The Queen studied him in silence. Then she said something that changed everything. "You will live. And in return, I offer you a choice." The offer. The Queen explained, or rather poured into his thoughts, a vision of what was to come. The Serac Dominion was tired of endless slaughter. The war had drained both sides, leaving nothing but ruin in its wake. She wanted peace, but not with politicians or generals. She wanted someone who had seen the worst of the conflict, someone who had chosen mercy over hatred. She wanted Adrian. "Be our bridge," she said. "Stand between human and Serac. Help us end this war." Adrian's breath caught. The offer was unthinkable. Him, a corporal, a nobody, chosen as an envoy between species. If his commanders ever heard of this, they'd brand him a traitor. But when he looked at the little girl, her luminous eyes still wet with tears, her hand clutching his as if she never wanted to let go, he knew his answer. "I'll do it," Adrian whispered. "If it means she grows up without this war, I'll do it." The Queen inclined her massive head. "Then you are bound. Human soldier, protector of my blood. From this moment, you are no longer our enemy. Return to the surface." Adrian expected to die in the attempt to return. Instead, Serac warriors guided him through hidden tunnels, never raising their weapons. When they reached the surface, dawn was breaking over the shattered landscape. Waiting there were human recon units, weapons drawn, stunned at the sight of one of their soldiers walking side by side with the enemy.